Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about the Baker Mayfield trade.
Dave, it's a glorious day in Cleveland. This is Cassius, the quintessential Cleveland Browns fan. Again, I want to say that I'm glad that the Browns traded Baker Mayfield. That quiets that thing right there with all the Deshaun Watson mess going on. It's a little too noisy over here. Soon we'll get a definitive answer on what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson as far as the suspension. So things can get back to normal. We can focus only on the upcoming season. I do want to say this, that Baker, I hope he does really well in Carolina except for game one. Don't want him to do well then, but we do wish him the best, and now we can get on with football. Thanks, Dave.
All right, Cash, just always appreciate all of the voicemails. Quincy, as we were talking last segment, something kind of clicked with me. I've been getting some emails from people that are, I've mentioned the three-dimensional chess that Andrew Berry is playing, and people have kind of pushed back and said that he mishandled the whole Deshaun Watson thing by not letting Baker Mayfield know that they were trading for him, and that the minute he traded for Watson, Mayfield's value went down. Keep in mind the dynamics of that trade were that Deshaun Watson had to waive his no-trade clause to come to the Browns, and I think the Browns were a little bit surprised by that. That's really what created, the issue with Baker Mayfield there. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and in the Browns side of this story, it deserves to be mentioned too, and I hear it not mentioned a lot, is they told Baker Mayfield they were going to look at, quote, top flight quarterback options, right? That's what was reported at the combine. That's what was told to his camp. That's what has come out about what the front office told Baker Mayfield. And then they ended up kicking the tires on Deshaun Watson. They felt like that coincided with exactly what they said. Baker Mayfield might feel differently about if Deshaun Watson is a top flight quarterback or something like that. Maybe that's where the confusion came in. But that's what was reported. That's what's been out, that the Browns were going to look at and kick the tires on it. And let's be honest here, because Baker Mayfield needs to be realistic about the body of work he has put out over his entire career and ask himself this question: am I undeniable? If the answer is no, then you can get moved in the NFL. People will move on from you, especially at the quarterback position, especially when somebody that teams do feel like, on the field at least, is a undeniable talent. They will move on. And that's what happened to Baker Mayfield. That's just the cold-hearted business of the NFL. Teams are trying to improve every day, and they're trying to improve at your position. And if you aren't one of the best, you are always going to be able to get moved. And also, Matt Ryan got moved because of this whole situation too. Like the Baker situation, I don't know why people are honing in as if the Browns were going to trade Baker Mayfield before they even kicked the tires on Deshaun Watson, which is ridiculous, right? Because why would they have done that? If the Browns did do that, the same people would be calling them dysfunctional. This is one of those things where people just want to be critical one way or the other on this because they're sympathetic to Baker Mayfield. And that just is what it is. I don't think it mattered when they did it. The value was going to be the value on Baker Mayfield, because the true leverage in a Baker Mayfield trade wasn't when you traded him, it's how many people wanted him, and it ended up being not that many.
Right.
It ended up being just Carolina. And when that's the case, it's going to be low trade value.
Well, and look at, the Colts went out and solved their problem. The Falcons went out and solved their problem. All of those could have come to the Browns with Baker Mayfield. They found other options.
And, those teams knew that Baker would probably be available, right? Those teams knew that Baker would probably be available, decided not to go in that direction. Atlanta didn't want to go in that direction. The Colts didn't want to go in that direction. A number of teams decided, I'd rather go with James. I'd rather go with Marcus. I'd rather go with Mitchell. I'd rather go with Matt, right? Than try to kick the tires and see what was up on the Baker Mayfield thing. A lot of this just comes down to not a lot of teams wanted him. If some teams wanted him, he would have been moved for a substantial package. But if you only got one person to bring to the dance, well, that person will get whatever they want at concessions, right? They're just going to get it because they're the only one at the dance, right? So you just got to do what you got to do. But that's I hear people talking about this is an Andrew Berry problem. I don't know how much more leverage he could create given that there was one team interested.